Hello and welcome to another electric drum kit setup video. Next to me today I have the Alesis Crimson III. You may also notice that I'm in a slightly different environment today, and that is because this is one heavy drum kit and I was actually really struggling to get it up the stairs at our studio at Rhythm Room. So I decided to convert my living room into a videography studio today. So let's get started. So as usual, everything that you need is in the box, apart from one thing, the old trusty butter knife, which I use to get the boxes open. So let's get this open now and get started. As usual, we need to do a bit of digging. The box that we want to open first is the box that says rack, and it is buried underneath a lot of other boxes as well. I have a feeling we're going to need the accessories box pretty quickly, so I'm just going to stick that over here on one side, and let's get the rack box open. Strange, there's normally an instruction manual that comes with these, and they're normally right at the top of the pile of boxes. Part of me says that perhaps then it's hidden in another box and I might stumble upon it at some point during this setup. But anyway, so we've got the rack box open, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take all of the legs and arms that are in this out of their plastic bags and put them in front of us. So here are all of the legs set up in front of us. We're going to put the brackets and the cymbal stands over to one side for now, and also these curvy boys, we'll get them out in just 1 second. So how we're going to lay it out is this. We're going to put the leg with 2 connection points up there, and the other 2 is here, and then we've got 1 connection point is here, 1 connection point is here. So we're setting this up as though we're setting up the kit directly in front of us. All right, so it's going to be looking a bit like that. So in fact, you might want to, I'll move this around in a second. Just a quick addition to this is how you want to have the legs laid out in front of you. So you want to have it on when we've got the single connection point here. We want these wing bolts here to be facing us when set up like this. And with these, these wing bolts here are going to be facing us again, because I'm about to turn this round so it faces this way, but then this connection point is still facing the similar way. I'm going to quickly do that now and show you what I mean. So this is what I mean. You can see here that the wing bolts are facing us on both of these back supporting legs. The wing bolts are facing us over here on this leg and over here on this leg. And then here we have the wing bolts facing away from us for these connection points which will be feeding in. So this is where these curvy boys come in. So we're going to be putting one up here at the top so that the curve is away from us like that, and we're going to be putting another curvy boy into this connection point and this connection point here, and yeah, the same for over here, again the same, so the curve is going to be curving away from us. For this next step we're going to need the drum key, which is in one of the bags in the accessories box. So I'm going to grab this one here, and you can see it is buried down here, so I'm going to quickly grab that. Here's our drum key. I'm going to be using that to loosen off the lugs here on the connection point so that I can get the supporting poles in to that connection. So the frame should look like this in front of you now. Now we're going to fit our brackets. So we're going to be putting 2 brackets on this pole, 4 on this one, and 2 on this one over here. So if we take a look at these brackets, what we're going to want to do, how we're going to want to fit these, is we're going to have this wing bolt at the bottom facing towards us like this, and we're going to have this one here. This is where we're going to be mounting the toms and cymbals and everything else on, and we want them to be on the other side of these connecting poles away from us like this. So if I grab one that I've already loosened a little bit, so you can see here that I've loosened this bottom wing up and it comes apart like this. We place it over the pole, close it up, and then we will tighten that up there, and that's how we're going to want to do it by. I'm going to need 2 hands for this. So as I said, we're going to take that bracket, put it over, loosen that a bit more so that it actually fits over the There we go. Tighten that up. And that's one fitted. So like I said, we're going to put 2 fairly evenly spread out over here, and then we're going to have 4 up here. The ones on either end, I'm going to put them pretty close to the edge of the pole, of each end of the pole, and then put another 2, the other 2 sort of more central, I should figure. And then, yeah, and then 2 over here, again, equidistant from one another, I would say, and then we can adjust from there as needed. So that's all the brackets attached to the frame now. I have to say, of all the Alesis kits that I've set up so far, this one definitely feels the most solid. Next up, we're going to be fitting the cymbal stand. So here you can see that we've got 4 in front of us, but 1 is a short boy. So this is going to be our hi-hat, and so that is going to be put here. So that's the rightmost bracket between the 2. And then we've got 3 longer ones. So one is going to go here, the other one's going to go here, and then the other one is going to go over here. So I'm going to do that now. When you're doing this, you'll notice that on the stand, we've got a little shark fin. Right, so we want that shark fin pointing away from us, as there is a groove in the cymbal pads that fit into that little shark fin that hold the cymbal pads facing towards you. So you want to make sure that that is facing away from you. That makes sense. Okay, so now you're going to be reaching back into your accessories box, and we're going to be getting tom mounts for the tom pads. So we're going to take this out of the bag and then we'll put them on. We're going to be putting them onto the brackets like so. So that long metal bar is going over the pole towards you, like this. Right. I've got to loosen this off a little bit. When I do loosen it off, there is, well, I'll see how it goes, but there is usually a little trick to try and help getting in. Yeah, so that's a bit stubborn. So if we do a little twist as we push down, then that will go in nicely. And so that's about where I'll fit mine. You can have a little bit higher, a little bit lower, but I feel like that's probably a bit too close to the bracket. So we're just going to pull that up ever so slightly to about there. I think that's about right. And so I'm going to fit one there, obviously, another one here, and then the last one's going to go over there. So it's time to get the tom pads out now. There are 2 boxes that have 8-inch tom written on and 1 that has 10-inch tom written on. We're going to open all of them. Now we should have the 3 toms in front of us like this. We're going to be putting the 2 8-inch toms on these top brackets here, and then the 10-inch tom is going to go down to this one on the right-hand side. Now, before we mount these, what we need to do is we need to loosen that bracket obviously slightly and turn it round, so that you should have that mount point pointing straight up at the sky now. Now I'm going to get the camera, so what we're going to do is we'll loosen it off here and then turn it round so that it's pointing up at the sky like that. We'll do the same thing here. And then I'm going to fit this up on the top there, but again I'm going to need 2 hands. Might need to do a little bit of loosening and moving the mount points and brackets ever so slightly, just to give yourself enough room to fit the toms in. Right, so the tom pads are on now. So one thing I am noticing now that I've got to this stage is that I feel like I may have set up this a little bit too tall. So obviously this is personal preference and you can adjust as you need, but yeah, I'm going to be grabbing these brackets. I'm just going to be pulling all the frame down ever so slightly so that it's just a bit lower for me. I'm not that tall. I'm 6'2", but not that tall. Now that that's set up for ordinary earthlings, I'm going to get these cymbal pads out now. So you want the ones that say 12-inch crash, 12-inch hi-hat and 14-inch ride. I'll put the pads in front of me like this. So we've got the 12-inch hi-hat is over here on my left-hand side. Then we've got the 12-inch crash cymbals here. Don't think it matters which one is which. Yeah, no, I think we are all good. Yeah, no, that's fine. And over here we've got the 14-inch ride. So how it's going to work is we're going to put the hi-hat over here, crash there, the other crash here, and then the ride cymbal over here. Once you've loosened the wing nut, the felt should come with it, but if it doesn't, you want to make sure the felt is on the top side of the cymbal, and again we want to be making sure that that groove is lined up with the shark fin that's on the stand. There we go, that's in. Next up, we want to open the box that says 12-inch snare and snare stand. Snare drum assembly is relatively straightforward. We're going to loosen up this wing nut and straighten that out like this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pop that in here. So you've got a locking mechanism here. So using your drum key, you may want to loosen this in order to get it to the height that you want. So I'm quickly going to insert this and we'll talk a bit more about it. So I did lower the memory lock ever so slightly using the drum key. Now, as well with your memory lock, if I loosen that back off, you'll see that if you try and put it in in most positions, it won't line up flush like it does this way around. So what you want to do is make sure that the lug, there we go, the lug is on the same side as our wing nut here, right? And that way you'll be able to get in there over there with the drum key and tighten that up. So that should then stay in place. Obviously we want to keep that wing nut fairly tight, but the memory lock here is going to do a lot more work for keeping your snare drum in place, and you can get away with tightening this a little bit more. Don't over tighten this, because that will eventually wear out. So be gentle on it. You've got two mechanisms here to keep the snare drum there, so it'll be fine. Right, okay, now should just be as straightforward as putting it on your stand here. Yeah, perfect. Now that's not holding it completely in place. So on the underside of your stand here, we want to tighten up this guy here. So we're going to tighten that, excuse the wiggly camera, and then that will gradually close the clamps around the snare drum. Unfortunately, this is another two-handed job. That snare drum has now been clamped in to the snare drum stand. In terms of angle, if we loosen off this wing bolt, then we can now get the snare drum into whatever position we need it. My suggestion is to not have it angled towards you at an extreme angle like this, because that's going to be bad for the head. You're going to end up stabbing the head with your drumsticks and damaging the head. I think some drummers do like to have it totally flat, but I always recommend just a slight tilt towards you, so about that much. I'm going to tighten that up now. Now you want to open the hi-hat pedal and kick drum boxes. If you open the kick drum box upside down, then you can just pull the pedal straight out without having to pull the whole box to pieces. So with your bass drum pad, you want to put it in the middle of the kit on the floor here, and then your hi-hat pedal is going to be on the left-hand side. And it is worth noting that the Alesis Crimson III does not come with a bass drum pedal. You're going to need to buy your own. Last box to open now, we're going to get the module out. And of course, my last box to open has the instruction manual in it. Back in your accessories box is going to be a cable loom, and this is what we're going to be using now to plug into our module before we fit the module to the mounting point. So this is the cable loom in front of us now. Now if you look at each connection, you can see here that we've got a little guide about where to plug everything in. So we've got something through there, and this was the snare drum, right? So just so you know where everything needs to go, we've got the hi-hat control, or HH control. This is going to be the hi-hat. This is the snare, tom 1, tom 2, tom 3. This is crash 1, crash 2, and the ride, or it will be as ride 1. Right, I'm going to plug all that in. But before I do that, I'm going to put in the cable loom into our module. So yeah, let's set it like that. Inside your accessories box, a couple of screws will look like this, and we use that to screw in the cable loom into the back of our module. With that, we now plonk the module into the bracket. And now time to plug the cables in. Try and start with the shortest cables first. In one of the accessory bags, you've got some cable ties, so we'll quickly use them to tidy this mess up. So the very last thing to get set up is the power supply. Now that is in a little white box that is in the accessories box, and because I'm here in the UK, they provide me with both a UK plug and a European plug. Don't need the European one, clean that one off. And yeah, we'll just, there we go, pop that in, twist, it clicks, and then that's in and set up. Plug it into the power input down here, and then we are ready to go. I'm going to go around this, do some final tweaks to it now in terms of positioning of all of the pads and heights and things, and just quickly take you around the kit. Okay, so this is pretty much how I'll have it for my review videos and my playthrough videos. But I will say the one thing that I don't like is where they've put the ride cymbal pad here. I think I might end up swapping that around with Tom 3, and just because I like to have my ride cymbal a little bit more over there rather than over there. But no, yeah, that's it. I'm ready to go. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you can, as it really helps me to create more videos like this. So if you have any thoughts or questions as well, please leave them in the comment section below. I'll see you next time.